Good morning and welcome to the Denton Insider. We are here to advocate, educate, and collaborate on behalf of the Denton business community. My name is Randy Skinner. I am one of your co-hosts here on the Denton Insider. I serve on the Chamber Board of Directors, and as a member, I represent RS Consulting. And with me is your co-host, Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Gregory. I'm the director here at Stoke, which is Denton's co-working space. And we're a proud member of the chamber and have been hosting this podcast with Randy for the last few months. So we're excited today. And in just a few minutes, we're going to get to talk to Vanessa Ellison, who is an education coordinator at the City of Denton. But before we get to that, do we have a scoop for this week, Randy?
All right. So I do. I have a chamber scoop for y'all today. So one is that ribbon cuttings and some of the events, as a reminder, are back in person, safely social distancing, wearing masks. So I know that a lot of folks have had fun getting to reconnect with people in person. And so that's something to definitely head over to the calendar and look forward to. Denton-chamber.org, click on events, and you'll find all the details for upcoming opportunities. And so a few things that you have coming up are on the 17th, there is an opportunity for, it is called, sorry, I'm pulling up, the business entities, how do they work and do you need one? So this is going to be hosted on Tuesday, November 17th at 5:30. It is a Zoom call, and this is hosted by TW Jane Nelson's Institute for Women Leadership. So this is a collaboration by one of our chamber members. So that's an opportunity that you can definitely jump into. And then from the chamber side, you want to mark your calendars for November 19th is the chamber mixer. More details to come on that. It's free to attend, but go ahead and save the date and head over and register, and we'll bring you more info as it comes through, but definitely lots of ways to get involved and connect through events. So that is your chamber scoop for today.
That's awesome. I actually have a little bit of a scoop too.
Ooh, okay.
So Stoke and Main Street Association and the Chamber and the City Economic Development Department, we kind of all partnered together to create some awesome resources for the community. So there's going to be launching really soon is going to be a couple of different pages. One is for businesses. And so there are going to be some resources, some video tutorials. Somebody named Randy Skinner from RS Consulting put one together, but some awesome tutorials for businesses that maybe don't have enough staff to do, to have somebody specific for marketing or social media. So it's going to be some real tangible tips on setting up, a newsletter list or doing some simple design. So kind of heading into the holiday shopping season, there are going to be some resources for small businesses. So be watching all of those groups that I mentioned on the social media. It'll be going out. And then there's also going to be like a shopping guide. So there are going to be resources for all of the shop local events or like virtual sip and shops, things like that are happening. So check everybody's Facebook pages and socials. And that stuff is going to be coming out really soon.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm really excited to see what a virtual sip and shop is all about.
Yeah, Main Street both of those done things. A couple. Yeah.
I get to do it from my own home. I'm real into that.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So today we are really lucky to get to talk to Vanessa Ellison, who, as I mentioned, is the education coordinator in sustainability at the City of Denton. She is a member of the Evening Rotary and a PhD student at TWU, and I'm certain other things as well, because she's a very busy person. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Vanessa.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited.
So we are really looking forward to just kind of hearing more about what's been going on the city side, and then also just things you've been up to. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of give, for folks that don't know you, you've been involved in the Denton community for quite some time. You are one of the young professional leaders. So tell folks about you and just give us a little insight.
Sure. So I'm Vanessa Ellison. I'm originally from Waco, Texas. I moved to Denton in 2007 to go to UNT, Go Mean Green. I went there twice. I'm currently at PhD. I'm getting my PhD at TWU, so I'm getting to see kind of both campuses and what that's like, the culture on the campus. I try to stay involved in the community and do as much volunteering as I can whenever I'm not working. Some of my favorite organizations are, of course, working with Denton Evening Rotary. Right now, we're partnering with Shiloh Farms and
Oh, cool.
Cumberland Presbyterian Children's Home to do cleanup work kind of outside. That's the safe thing to do right now with COVID is more cleanups. As well as I always love Denton County Friends of the Family and being able to go there and help sort items, and especially with holidays coming up for their events that they have.
Awesome. Well, we are so glad that you're here. So tell us a little bit about your role with the city, kind of what you do.
Right. Okay. So my role has morphed. When I first started in 2016, I was the recycling education coordinator. Around 2018, I got switched to education coordinator and I went up under sustainability. August 15th, I got moved. I'm still education coordinator, but now for the Parks and Recreation Department. So, Careers on Wheels, one of the programs that I lead, where we take different city departments to schools and let them talk about skills that you need to work in the workplace, things like responsibility, respectability, but also giving messages of safety and recycling and those type of things, as well as Denton Sustainable Schools, which is just like an environmental resource to teachers. We go in and we supplement education with materials and also free lectures. So we'll help them find an expert. Those two things are very much so still going to be a part of what I do, but now I'm going to be incorporating some of the parks information. So learning more about the parks that we have, trying to, specifically for me, I would like to do cultural programming and getting more people outside who maybe aren't accustomed to that. So I'm excited to bring that to Parks and Rec.
How has your work, like especially the stuff in schools, how has that changed in the last 8 months? What have you been able to do since you can't really be there in person?
Right, because no one's allowing guest speakers or that kind of thing. I've mainly been working with the universities. The universities are really big on having panels right now, virtually, especially because they're doing virtual classrooms as well. So I've been doing a lot of service in that regard. As far as my K through 12, I think the teachers may be a bit overwhelmed. It's really hard to sneak in a guest speaker right now, just with everything that they have going, and keeping the attention of little ones is pretty hard. But I'm hoping to get in there this month for November 15th, America Recycles Day, just to go around and talk to all the schools if I can.
Awesome.
So the 15th is America Recycles Day. So what are some tips that you could offer to the community at large that maybe you teach the schools about, but we're, all of us adults probably could stand to use a little bit of a refresher too.
Right. Okay. So a few things I'll point out are things that contaminate it, things that we recycle on accident, but we're like, oh, this counts. I can recycle it. Metal hangers, we don't want to put those in there. Pizza boxes, definitely not. Although they're cardboard, that grease kind of seeps in and gets on everything. And clothes, textiles, towels, those that kind of things can't be recycled. Not in your blue cart. You can take those to Recycle to Support, and they have there at Thrift Giant where they'll take it and they'll take those materials and turn them into other things. You always, always, always want to know before you throw. So pay attention to where you're throwing your things, put them in the blue cart so that you're recycling right. And there are only 6 things that you can recycle, and that's paper, plastic, carton, cardboards, cans, and glass. And that's it. Those are the only things that can go in that blue bin.
So I'm just trying to think about like how this kind of all intersects with parks too, because I know that there are tons of Like at most every park that I go to has the recycling bin and the trash, next to it. Is that something that you're hoping to do, is kind of expand that, or I even sometimes they're not labeled, and so I have to remember what my bins at home look like, and I'm like, which color is the recycle? It would be cool to kind of see some of that, those sustainability efforts like kind of intersect with the parks stuff.
Yes, we have been talking about signage for those. Just because, like, do we do the same signage that we put on the carts? Do we make something specifically for parks? Does it go on the ground? Does it go on the bin? How do we make sure that it stays?
Right.
For sure, parks just acquired Clear Creek Natural Heritage Center, which before was under sustainability. And so just last week, I believe, they put out a recycling and trash bin to see how it goes, to see if people use them. So I think it's kind of a trial and error right now, just to see.
So can you talk about, you mentioned some of the cultural programming that you'd like to start incorporating at the Parks Department. Do you have any ideas for what that might look like?
Yes, I'm actually applying for a grant right now, and I'm wanting to host kind of like a hiking leading up to camping workshop for specifically women of color to go out and learn about native plants. And then the next time we kind of learn about outdoor cooking. And the last program would be us going overnight to camp. I find that a lot of people that I know, and even myself, I've never been camping. I'm not really an outdoorsy person. And it's because there's a lot of trauma associated with the outdoors for people of color. And I'm using this book called Black Faces, White Spaces to kind of create a curriculum around this outdoor education. And so the book will also be a part of that program. We'll be reading it, journaling about it, and then going out in nature to try to defy some of those fears that are there.
I love that. That
That's
sounds
so
like a really
exciting.
amazing program.
And it sounds like it's something so unique. The fact that you're having to kind of customize this. It's great that you have the book as a tool, but customize it based upon your own experience and those around you. And then for Denton. Okay, so we've got to all give you some good juju for that grant for sure, huh? Okay. When might we know about the grant? Any?
March.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have to come back on in March and give us all a little more insight. And so how would folks connect with you about learning more about that program? Maybe if there was a way that they could, I don't know, like get on a list so they could be the first to know, or should they check the city website? Like, what would that look like?
They can totally email me. That's a wonderful way to get, I love to talk to anyone that'll listen. I talk to people that are K to gray. So my email is vanessa.ellison@cityofdenton.com. And if they're interested in collaborating or adding to this program or just attending, I would love to have them.
So what are that's a new unique program that's going to be for individuals and women of color specifically. What are some things that are opportunities and ways that businesses can get involved on the sustainability side, but also the Parks and Rec side? What does that look like?
So the biggest thing is utilizing our parks and our recs. A lot of people don't realize that you can have meetings there, you can have parties there, you can have appreciations there, as well as going out and going to the different parks. I would love to see more people doing their staff meetings out, especially now that you need to social distance anyways. Why not make it active and go on a walk with your staff meeting? I had I guess you would call a supervisor that did that when I first started. And we would actually do litter cleanups as our staff meetings. And the ideas that came out of that and the honesty and comfortability, because we're already busy moving, you would kind of just get more from your employees than you would sitting in a meeting going, okay, who has questions? And, that kind of thing. It makes it a more comfortable atmosphere. I do think that's a way that the businesses could totally get involved and help utilize those parks.
I love that idea. I read something recently about that, how you can have more open and honest conversations if you're actually not looking at each other, kind of being side by side and even engaged in an activity together. So that seems like a great way to meet or have one-on-ones or team building stuff. That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about your what you're studying, like a PhD that's tremendous, right? And you mentioned you're getting a taste of UNT and TWU. Like, what is it that you're doing with your PhD? What is it that you're working on?
So I'm studying sociology. I study people and kind of behaviors and structures, but my dissertation is going to be about food culture and what is it like when you defy your food culture, specifically Black women that identify as vegan. Just because soul food is such a rich part of African American history and culture, and seeing what it's like when you go kind of against that or if you change it. Because one big thing about recipes, and especially coming now for holiday season, is the tradition of it. This is the way I've always cooked this. You have to do this. Sometimes it even being secretive, and just seeing what it's like when you step outside of that. How does your culture and your community embrace you or reject you? And so that's what I'm studying.
Cool. Okay. So you're applying right now, you said, going into your dissertation?
I'm doing my comprehensive exam. So I'm
Okay.
writing about 2 chapters of my dissertation and say, here's me. I know what I'm talking about. Please accept this so I can move forward. And so,
All right. Well, we're gonna put out the good vibes so that so we've got 2 things now that we're gonna be cheering you on for. I love it. So when we were kind of chatting earlier, of course, I'm a Rotarian too. So, service above self. And I know you're really involved with the Denton Evening Rotary, one of the founding members of the Evening Rotary, correct? So what are some ways that y'all have pivoted in the midst of COVID? Rotary, for those of you why don't you tell everybody what Rotary is? You're the guest, you get the seat. Tell us what Rotary is, and then talk about some of the ways that that's looked different for y'all.
sure. So Rotary is a service organization, and you are there to provide service for your local community as well as nationally, as well as globally. And so one thing that the Denton Evening Rotary was very quick to do was to bring on online meetings as well as having them in person. So the induction that I went to on Monday for our 2 new members, which we're really excited about, they were there in person, but some of us were online. And so we're still able to interact, we're still able to share our ideas and sign up for things, but having that safety from your home, I think that's what's made it different. I know there are a lot of clubs that are back meeting in person. At the beginning of COVID, I want to say June or July, I spoke to the Noon Rotary Club, and they were all meeting pretty much in person at that time. And I went there, I did one in person, and then I talked to them again about August maybe, and it was all online.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to have a mix of both, because there are some people that are zoomed out and they would rather just go sit socially distanced and hear from you. But I do think that it's good to have that as a tool.
Do y'all think that, because, right now, obviously we're having this dual online and in person, primarily because of safety, right? And health concerns, and being able to have that opportunity. Do you think it's something that you will keep moving forward? Because, what I've been realizing is that I've been able to attend some things that maybe otherwise I wouldn't have been able to, because they are virtually. So have y'all thought about as a club what that looks like?
I would hope so. I'd hope that we get to keep it, just because for someone like me, my work schedule right now is fluctuating. I'm filling in at the recreation centers. And so sometimes I'm not off work till 8, which means I totally missed that meeting. So I'm hoping that it stays, because it does allow more flexibility for those of us who are juggling different things.
So we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah.
So if people want to stay tuned to what you're doing, your work in the city, where do they fall? I know you gave your email, but is there social platforms or places on the website where they should be tuning in?
Well, I guess you can always look on Parks and Rec. We do have our own Facebook, social media as well, Instagram. I think there's a Twitter for it. I know there's a Twitter for KDB as well, because I'm also helping in that area too. I just did our first tree giveaway, which was so new and interesting for me. I'd never done anything like that before, especially with trees. So I'm learning a whole new realm. But yes, there is social media for all of it.
Awesome.
Perfect. So head over to Parks and Rec Denton Parks and Recreation over on Facebook.
Mhm.
And then also through the website, you can get connected to those other social media channels as well.
Mhm.
Awesome. So, okay, we're going to make a game plan to have you come back on March, April. You tell us whenever you're ready to talk more about the new curriculum. And it sounds like too, this is one of many ways that you're going to bring in some more of that the cultural opportunities, that diversity that can be seen in our parks community. So we have a lot to stand by for.
Mhm.
Definitely want to thank you just for coming on, telling us what you've been up to and giving us a few tips about recycling and updates on some of the things that y'all are doing at the city to pour back into our schools and students throughout. So we will look forward to hearing more about it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate you carving out the time. We know you're a busy person.
Thank you.
Well, have a good day. And next week, we will be speaking to Jason Lambert, who is a professor at TWU, and he'll be talking about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So everybody can tune in next week for that conversation. But till then,
We'll see you next week.
bye.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We want to thank our partners and sponsors who made this show possible. Now stick around for a word from all of us here at Discover Denton. Hey everybody, if you haven't checked it out yet, DentonRadio.com has soft launched a new website and brand. We'd love for you to go and check out the new look, but we also want to walk you through the new website and all the features you can see. So the main thing that we're most excited about is we have this video feed right at the top of the page that's a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week video feed of different Denton performances. Now these are past recordings that we've done here at Denton Radio. We also have some awesome recordings coming at us from Tiny Couch Productions. Thank you, Tiny Couch. If you haven't checked out Tiny Couch, you've got to go see those guys. So 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week feed, and what we're dedicated to as an organization is going forward, we're going to be trying to be inside different Denton venues as much as possible. So we're going to be going to Dan's and Rubber Gloves and Andy's and LSA and recording the shows while they're happening and putting them right here. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're going to have a true window into the Denton music scene. So it's going to be really, really cool. Now just beneath that, we have the This Week in Denton section. And what you can do is scroll through and see all the shows that are happening in Denton that week. And then you can listen to the different songs from the different artists that are playing those shows. And then when you click the green button underneath it, it's going to take you right to discoverdenton.com's calendar page for that show. So you're going to get all the info on where, what, who, how, all that good stuff. And we'll be changing this out every single week. So you're going to have a full section of all the shows that are happening and everybody that's playing where you can go listen to them and check it out. We also still have our podcasts on this page. Everything that we were doing before is still here, but all these new fun features are coming at you. More features as well to come as we get further and further into this soft launch. And whenever we can start booking shows again and everybody's kind of back to normal, we're going to have a really awesome big launch party and we'll get the final product out there. And we're super, super excited about it. So thank you guys so much for checking it out. Go see it all at dentonradio.com.